Hello everybody, my name is Hayasaka, and today we will be going through the November and December WEEB wrap up with your host, the Dramatic Otaku. Now, if you did not know what the WEEB wrap up is, it is a bi-monthly series by your channel's host, the Dramatic Otaku, and every single anime and manga, occasionally dramas as well, that she's watched within the last 2 months. This one obviously being for November and December, and hello everybody, last day of the year. Happy New Year! Today's video is going to be probably actually very quick, seeing as I've mostly been focused on Everyday December, on Upload Everyday December, and didn't actually watch or read a lot. Oh, I say I didn't read a lot, I actually read quite a lot in November, but I didn't watch a lot in November. So we'll be starting with anime. November anime. Would you be surprised if I said all of my anime was just Attack on Titan? Because I certainly wouldn't. Attack on Titan Season 4 Part 3, Part 2 was released. This was the finale of Attack on Titan, and I did have a video come out this month about Attack on Titan and my history with the series, so we're not going to get into my history. Mainly just that I've been watching since 2014, 2015-ish, and I've been watching for a long time and have been a big fan of Attack on Titan. That being said, I very much enjoyed the first special more than this special. I was actually a little underwhelmed, I'm not going to lie, and I didn't like Mikasa kissing Eren's decapitated head. Before I continue this full disclaimer, I actually fully knew what would happen at the end of the series, what would happen in the last episode, solely because I actually, when it came out, read the final chapter. I didn't know how we got from A to B, but I read the final chapter, and so to see everything in the final chapter, for the most part, happen in the final episode, I was underwhelmed. My best friend loved it, my partner loved it, I was not the same opinion. I was pretty underwhelmed, and it felt pretty page for page of the final chapters with only subtle differences. I don't have a lot of notes for the final episode. I definitely preferred the special beforehand, but I did absolutely love Levi fucking murking Zeke. That probably was first the most epic part, and second the funniest fucking part of the entire special. I also nearly did feel quite emotional when Jean and Connie were going to be turned into Titans. Why did Jean's Titan look like that? They really wanted to push the Jean agenda here. And speaking of Jean, I really do wish we saw who Mikasa ends up with at the very end of the series. I know it's supposed to be ambiguous. I personally think it is Jean, as do many people. But I wanted to see who. And speaking on the credits of the actual special itself, I was really impressed. I love how the actual singer for the ending theme was Mikasa, and when Mikasa dies in the ending, the singer changes. I thought that was so fucking cool. And how as soon as Mikasa dies, the cycle starts again, and the tree grows super huge and stuff. I thought that was really cool. I also felt weird because in the actual special itself, Zeke's speech did cause me to have a panic attack and an existential panic attack at that, which isn't fun to do. 2 more things. 1, what the fuck was the thing that happened with Armin and whatever the Beast Titan thing was? I can't remember the name. I have rarely seen that animal in picture books or whatever. What the fuck was the tongue thing? What the actual fuck was that? If I see fan art of Armin like that, I will cry. Also, last thing is that I actually really loved Eren's crybaby scene. It really felt like we were seeing the real Eren for the first time in a long time, especially since if you've kept up with the series and not gone back to the very start of the series before the final episode, you've been sort of like left on cryptic Eren for like 3 years now. So seeing a reminisce of Eren in the first season, I really appreciate that, and I really liked it because that's Eren, not this Sigma male genocidal maniac. He is our crazy suicidal maniac. Also, Jean saying that Eren was a suicidal maniac in the like last moments when he tried to kill, when he was trying to set off the bombs. Yes, I fucking loved that. Yeah, overall it was really impressive. It was definitely a very good finale episode, but I definitely preferred the episode prior just because of the like actual fear it put into me. That was good fear. Hanji's like death in that special, and just the elevated stress that happens, and the cliffhanger it ends on. Overall, I gave this special itself a 7.5 out of 10. Didn't hate it, didn't love it. Loved the original special first. And speaking once again on Attack on Titan, we've got Attack on Junior High. Now, I, full disclaimer, had actually already watched about 10 of the 12 episodes back when they were airing in 2014-ish, 2015-ish. I don't remember when, but I remember having access to them and watching them. I did what most people did, and because Attack on Titan was over, went back to watch Attack on Junior High because I saw people really enjoying it on TikTok, and I don't particularly remember enjoying it. I just thought it was extra Attack on Titan content, and this was our second season that we got at the time. That's how old I am. I remember when Attack on Titan didn't have a second season back in my day. Anyway, to be honest, yeah, I got influenced by TikTok, decided, sure, I'll watch it. I don't remember finishing the season, so I'll finish the season. I only needed to watch the last 2 episodes, and to be 100% honest, I am not the biggest fan of Attack on Junior High, mainly for the parody aspect, seeing as this is a horror series and all that sort of stuff. It isn't my thing. It is a parody of season 1 along with the OVAs, which I don't remember. I think there was 3 main ones and then 1 extra one, or extra promotional material that I saw. I cannot remember. But Attack on Junior High was the first season of Attack on Titan, and what we knew then, along with the OVAs, which is anime only stuff, which is understandable as it came out after the success of the first season. And for this watch through, I watched it in English, and I literally had it on the background and was not invested in the series whatsoever. It was like, because I'd watched it before, I had remembered all the important scenes, so I got really bored with it really quickly and just put it in the background while I was doing other shit. I was only ever invested in the last 2 episodes, and mainly in Armin's character as well. Everyone else felt like a really embarrassing caricature of themselves, especially Jean and Mikasa. Eren was kind of the same. Sasha was enjoyable. Cody was enjoyable. I love that Marco was still alive, and the last 2 episodes weren't all that entertaining, though I did get inspiration for cosplay because I'm thinking of cosplaying this Armin right here. It's very tempting. Very, very tempting, but as you can see, I don't look good with blonde. So overall, I gave Attack on Junior High a 4 out of 10, solely because I like Armin's characterization and the references are fun, but not what I'm looking for after the conclusion of the main series, especially with the tonal shift of Attack on Titan over the years. I don't even remember liking it back then because I clearly dropped the series. I at least liked the first 1 or 2 episodes of Attack on Junior High, just not the entire series. So yeah, that is all of anime for November. And now we get into November manga. We have quite a bit. I did a bit of shopping because it was my birth month. All came to a slow. around the last 2 weeks of November. I was really into reading at the very start of November, but sort of burnt out a little bit just because I have so much manga here. I bought so much manga over November because I was like, it's my birthday, I can do it. And as you can see, I have a new series I haven't started. I still haven't read Urusei Yatsura. I still haven't read. So I bought a lot, including some of the volumes I bought here. My main goal before I started reading any other manga was to get through manga I'd already bought on eBay, which, as you can see, I got through 3 volumes, which isn't too bad. I could have done better. Granted, I did start reading a 4th volume, but we'll talk about that series in this section. What I will start with, however, is none of those. It is Watakoi Love is Hard for an Otaku. This was recommended to me by my best friend in the entire world. She wanted me to watch the anime, and I actually pre-bought a cosplay for this character here because my best friend recommended it when we found a suit thrifting. So we're like, oh yeah, sure, I'll get this and I'll wear it when I read or watch Watakoi. I'm actually like very impressed with Watakoi, though it was a little bit difficult to start getting into. Love may be hard for an otaku, but this book is hard to read. So it took me several weeks to actually read this, mainly because it felt like half the time I was missing a lot of context to the thing. But it is a cute, fun, one-shot-esque series, but the format of the book, with the chapters being split into 2 parts by shorts and excess panels, it's a little difficult to read. And it's difficult to read because I'll like put it down thinking, okay, I've read one more chapter, and then the next time I pick it up, the next chapter is still the same chapter, it's just been split in half, which makes it really annoying because I'll forget what had happened in the start of the chapter. Don't get me wrong though, I do like this manga. It's cute, it's fun, and I like the characters. The female characters are relatable, but it gets hard to read sometimes, especially in my brain not working at the time. You know me, sometimes I'm reading and I'm forcing myself to read for this series. Sometimes I felt like I was doing that, but by the end of the book, I actually really liked it. Sometimes it felt like it crawled on a bit, similar to like how I felt with Urusei Yatsura. It gets hard to get into and it feels episodic, but it is in the end very enjoyable, and over time that got more concise. I'm hoping the same will be said here, but overall I thought it was a really fun story and cannot wait to get the 2nd volume. Overall, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was really cute, but pretty difficult to like mentally get into. Moving on, we go into one of the books I actually bought off of eBay. I bought the entire set of 3 for $30, which is about $10 a book, though the listing was actually $1 a book. I just paid $30 for shipping because the person didn't do combined shipping, which is really fucking annoying. I am talking about Escape Journey. Now, first disclaimer, this is a BL. I'm not going to review the series pretty much after this volume, solely because of something that happens in the middle of this volume. I'm still going to read the rest of the series to see if I can want to keep it on my shelves, since me personally, the thing that happens that's really frustrating, annoying and disturbing, I can mentally check out for that, but I know a lot of people absolutely fucking cannot. So the majority of this story is average. It is a very average college BL, but I am straight up gonna say I do not recommend this for the same reason I am hazy on most BL that is out there, which makes me nervous for that Moon and Sun manga that I brought up before. There is a blatant depiction of rape, and it is violent in this slice of life looking fucking series, and what is even worse is that it is brushed off with a simple I am sorry. It is never brought up again. It's never resolved properly. One of the love interests, the love interest assaults the other character says sorry, and they have a happily ever after. This happens too much in BL, where it frustrates the fuck out of me, and so if you don't like that, don't read this series because it's not worth it. The whole reason I haven't immediately chucked this out is because I got it for essentially $1 and I am like, I'm just gonna finish the series because it's messy, and as I said, because of the amount of BL I've read, I can check out of that little plot point, but I know most people absolutely fucking cannot. This is by no means the first BL to do this, nor will it be the only one, and I couldn't look past it like in terms of a reviewing standpoint. The rest of the series is tame and average, nothing to call home about, and certainly nothing worth reading as compared to other BL. So, straight up, I do not recommend Escape Journey just because of that. It's triggering content, and this series isn't worth it. It straight up isn't. In terms of the actual story of the first volume, ex-boyfriends meet up again in university. Their turbulent love blooms before them. The first volume is cute to the most part, and I can't help but cheer for Naoto. However, I have a big issue with the dubious consent and then straight up rape in the manga. Taichi uses Naoto for sex a lot, and it's literally a plot point in the novel that he uses him so much for sex. But when they have a fight, his only outlet is sex, which leads him to assault Naoto. Naoto is completely dissonant to that and takes it as a regular fight between, and woe is me, I'm still in love. And this isn't something in just Escape Journey that happens, it happens a lot in BL that I have read online in the past, especially sexually geared ones, and it's really annoying. It's why when in my Sleeping Dead review, when sexual assault is mentioned, I cheer on the book because it is the bare minimum to reference that the other character has assaulted them. This as a one-shot is okay. Save the assault, but now there's like 2 more volumes and Naoto is very naive on what family is. I also didn't like that because found families exist and you don't need to be related or married to be a family. I also didn't like that, but again, Naoto is a very easy character to root for, so I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place with this book. I like it for the most part, but really dislike Taichi and how his issues are never really brought up. Will this be explained in other books? I have no clue. I've just started the 2nd volume and have only really gotten through maybe a third of it. I'm only about a third through the 2nd book. I'm not going to review the series again, simply because of the way it brushes off such a serious fucking topic. And I don't appreciate it. Like, this is sort of like one BL too far for me. And as I said, I can be dissonant to the topic and continue to read the series, but I know a lot of people can't, thus I'm not fucking recommending it. And it has fully soured my experience for the rest of the series because, as I said, the rest of this book was cute, but nothing to cheer on about. And if there's 3 other books, what other content am I going to see that is other than this slice of life, light-hearted series that I expected going in? Overall, for the entire series, I give it a 4 out of 10. There is some enjoyable parts. It's not a revolutionary series, so what can I say? It's like nothing like other BLs that I have recommended or talked about. Does probably the worst thing that a BL does and glorifies sexual assault. So, speaking of a BL, one that is actually very good, My Love Mix-Up. Final volume. Okay, so I have so much to talk about. Annihilated this within 40 minutes of me actually getting it in my hands. First of all, I fucking hate TikTok. I had a major plot point for this book ruined for me by TikTok, by having one of those things where it shows you the chapter on the like carousel things. They showed me one of the chapters in My Love Mix-Up, and it was one of the final chapters, and it ruined a chapter for me. I didn't even go through the carousel. I went on to the first panel that showed up and it ruined an entire chapter for me. At least that is what I thought until I got 2 chapters in. But bait and switch, baby. Bait and switch. Oh, I love this author so much. They didn't go down the route that I thought they would. I'm so glad the mangaka didn't go down the extra drama route. This volume was all about tying together loose ends and completing the series, and with Aoki finally letting himself present Ida to his family as his boyfriend, Hashimoto and Ida got a happy ending, and we got a sweet kiss between Aoki and Ida at the end. I love it so much, and there is no weird sex scene at the end. I'm genuinely so happy with how this series ended. If not slightly underwhelmed, but as someone who wasn't too interested in the series altogether to begin with having felt burnt out by Love Me, Love Me Not, I am so happy to have found the series and fallen in love with it the way that I did. Overall, I give this book probably an 8 out of 10, and I'll give the entire series itself a 9.5 out of 10. But yeah, I love my love mix-up, and this was such a pick-me-up after Escape Journey. More BL, we're going for Go For It Again, Nakamura. So, funny thing, I was going through my manga list and adding it to my anime list. And the thing that happened last month, where I found out there was another season of Yamishibai, which there is another season of Yamishibai coming out as well. When I was adding Go For It Nakamura to my anime list, Go For It Again Nakamura came up. So we're getting a little series, and this one was actually more disappointing than the first one. I actually liked the first one as a one-shot. The wonderful one-shot that everyone had run to their artistic mediums to recreate the cover actually was the start of a mini-series, and I'm kind of disappointed with this one. I don't know what it is about BLs this month, and making me uncomfortable, but at least the main character isn't exactly interacting with what is making me uncomfortable in this series. Again, it is the love interest, Hirose, that is making me uncomfortable. So, the uncomfy thing about Hirose is that he is very clearly crushing on their teacher, and the teacher is partially reciprocating the attention, and he should be arrested for it. Which I fucking hate. He takes Hirose to get his hair cut, and I hate it. At least it seems like the mangaka is trying to reassure us that their romantic pairing isn't going to happen by not only having the teacher shut down some of Hirose's interest, and by having Nakamura misunderstand a conversation they're having to be a similar mindset to us as the reader. As well as the mangaka having a gag where Hirose thinks Nakamura is a lolicon and everyone else looked down on him because of it. But I genuinely could be grasping at straws with this one. I'm still liking Nakamura as a character, and the story itself is okay, but the relationship between Hirose and the teacher is making me wildly uncomfortable. And reading this right after reading the start of the second volume of Escape Journey isn't exactly what I needed, to be honest. I gave this a 5 out of 10. I really liked the first volume and was kind of disappointed upon the second volume. So to get away from the disappointment of BL, we have a romance series by one of my favorite mangakas, this being Bisco Hattori, the creator of Ouran High School Host Club. We have been reading Millennium Snow volumes 1 and 2. I'm going to show the second volume cover because I actually like it a lot more than the first volume cover, because the first volume cover kind of just looked like Tamaki, and the character on the front cover has black hair. I also found out about this series off of TikTok, so I must let you know about that. And yeah, it's Bisco Hattori, so it has a very like bratty vibe to it, similar to how Ouran High School Host Club, all of the hosts were fucking annoying and Haruhi was just like the straight man in it, which is so ironic to say. So Chiki is a girl with a life-threatening heart condition, leaving her in bed rest at the hospital. When she encounters a boy in the yard of the hospital she stays at, not just anyone though, a vampire. After a series of heart attacks, the vampire Toya gives Chiyuki some of his blood and she starts living her life as a regular girl, and Chiyuki does not leave him alone whatsoever, with her goal to be his bride and live 1,000 years with him. At least I think that's her goal. At the minimum, she wants to be with him for a while. And with the introduction of volume 2, we have another vampire versus werewolf manga. Not gonna lie, I thought this would be a vampire versus vampire series, but I was pleasantly surprised with the conventional dynamic. I thought volume 1 was pretty good, but I don't super appreciate the tsundere dynamic between Toya and Chiyuki, but I still can't get over the visual similarities between this and Bisco Hattori's previous successful series. I enjoyed it. I didn't have a lot to say about it. It's just really enjoyable. Then is volume 2. I don't like the cousin with the big brother complex in chapter 9 specifically, but overall the rest of the book was super enjoyable and super romantic. Overall, I'm warming up more to Toya, and Satsuki is a really fun character, but not yet a viable love rival in my eyes. Also, how Hattori clearly loves gothic and dark aesthetics outside of the obvious vampire theming. I really liked it and I really enjoyed this story, so I give it a 7 out of 10 just far. I have actually ordered, I believe, the omnibus for the 3rd and 4th volumes, mainly because I couldn't find the 4th volume online anywhere, and I found plenty of listings for the 3rd volume, but I found one listing for an omnibus of the 3rd and 4th volume, so I was like, fuck it, let's just get that. Now, moving on to an actual disappointment to me, this being Junji Ito's adaptation of No Longer Human. This has been on my list to collect for a long time. I bought it on a whim because I had birthday discounts, and you would have seen in my manga unboxing for this year's Scorpio season. This is one of the books I got and was really excited about. I really regret that excitement because I didn't enjoy this book, but I am actually tempted to get there's another manga adaptation of No Longer Human, and I also want to get the actual novel itself because I want to compare No Longer Human from Junji Ito's perspective, someone else's manga perspective, and the actual novel itself, because I think that'd be really interesting. But I really didn't like this book at all. Instantly, first chapter, trigger warning for multiple depictions of sexual assault across the entire book, child sexual assault, incest, sex, and murder. Depictions are shown implicitly and explicitly, mostly explicitly. Junji Ito's, I'm not gonna hold this the entire time, this is fucking heavy because it's a big ass book. I read this within like at least 3 hours. Junji Ito's interpretation of No Longer Human is so fucked. Like, I get the original work is depressing and fucked up, but like, wow, I didn't realize it was that fucked up. First of all, so much sex, like an unbridled amount of sex shown and depicted in this book. Also, a lot of the sex shown is assault, and I don't think I'm comfortable with it in general. Second is the translations of some of the characters, like the character named Sister. Is she a cousin? Is she a sister-in-law? Cause she isn't his sister. The main character's sister, that is. I'm not going to describe what's going on in the actual series, but like, the character of Sister isn't his sister. She at most could be his cousin, but it doesn't look like that they are related. So I don't know if it's like sister-in-law or something like that, or sister to his cousin, which would also be his cousin. Based on context, the character of Sister, I can only assume is sister-in-law of the cousin who was divorced at some point. It's honestly a wild ride, and I can't help but absolutely despise the character of Hiroki, because when everything goes well for Oba, he just like shows up. And Oba is the main character, by the way. But like when Oba is having a good time, everything's going well for him. Hiroki shows up and ruins everything. Also, Osamu Dazai makes an appearance in this novel where he apparently doesn't in the original. That's why I want to compare it. Ito has like inserted Dazai into his own story. The first chapter being the death of Osamu Dazai himself, and the ending is so fucked, with Oba actually ending up with his cousin that he got pregnant. I was actually hoping for a happy ending for Oba, but let's be real, it's Junji Ito, and on extension Osamu Dazai. Was this man really gonna get a happy ending? But from all of this, from my issues, I actually also want to talk about some of the influences I've seen, and while I don't know when Ito would have read Dazai's work, I feel like there are some themes or ideas from at least No Longer Human that influenced some of Ito's works, or some of Ito's works that influenced his adaptation of No Longer Human. Could be grasping at straws for one, but the way that he drew Yozo at the end of chapter 4 seemed very reminiscent of how he drew the pretty boy at the crossroads in Lovesickness. I think this could be one of the series himself, one of his series influencing this interpretation. I'm not sure the placements of which came first, Lovesickness or this, in terms of like the actual novels released itself, like in Japanese, not in English. But I would say there's like huge similarities between them, definitely. Obviously, No Longer Human is adapted way after, but I can't help but draw similarities. Same with the fact that Tomiya from the Tomiya series sharing the name with Dazai's suicide partner, and Ito changes her name in this series. I'm assuming to avoid like similarities to Tomiya, because that's his main work and like people would thread it together with this. But the fact that like Dazai's suicide partner was named Tomiya, and that I believe I read online on the like Wikipedia page, people thought she was like dragging him to his death or something along those lines. I don't 100% recall, but that really feels similar to the influences of like Tomiya in Junji Ito's adaptation. I could be grasping at straws. I just thought that was a little bit weird, and actually wonder if that's how Ito chose the name for Tomiya, but I could be completely wrong on that. I also believe that the insert of Dazai in the end may be Ito's way of connecting himself to Dazai and explaining to the audience, at least, how Dazai's works sat with him, with Ito. But that could just be me being parasocial. Overall, I was super mixed on this book. It's similar to I Am a Cat, in that the philosophies of the book are like similar, and while I can see the morbidness and absurdity in the novels, it's sometimes hard to follow and less enjoyable. This is also the third book about a low-life author that I've read in 2 months. And while I like it more than Downfall, I somehow like it less than Panorama Island. Which it can be argued that Oba is actually an artist, not an author, but he ends up being a mangaka at some point. Overall, I give this a 5.5 out of 10. I thought it was decent. It was decent. It was okay. Just, there's so much sex in this, oh my fucking god. Moving away from the grim and grisly for a little bit, we have this book, which like you would have seen in my Scorpio season video, but that actually I picked up as a set piece for that video, when the next book that I'm going to talk about is the one that I actually bought for Scorpio season anyway, this being The Moon on a Rainy Night. Now, this was a spur of the moment pickup. I wasn't actually going to buy this book. I was going to buy, I believe, a Junji Ito novel. I think I was going to buy Soichi's Tales, and then I saw this and put Soichi's Tales down because this was cheaper. But this is so cute. Like, oh my god, this is so cute. This has become one of my favorite series very quickly. When I was looking for books to potentially buy for my birthday and a book to get for B-roll of my Scorpio season birthday video. Yes, I didn't actually buy this on my birthday. I bought this, I bought The Drifting Classroom for my birthday, or volume 2 for my birthday. But when I read the synopsis, I was immediately interested, and this story is one that instantly hooks you from the gorgeous character design, the plot of this mysterious girl who ends up not being so mysterious, but instead hides herself to prevent herself from getting hurt. That was a bit of word vomit, because I'm not sure how to actually describe the synopsis of this book itself. I'm just gonna read the blurb on the back here. So, hearing with the heart. One rainy night, Saki is rushing to a piano lesson when she crashes into a beautiful long-haired girl, dropping her sheet music in the process. Saki stutters an apology, but the girl simply hands her back her sheet music and leaves without a word. Saki begins her first day of high school the following morning, only to find the stranger from the night before sitting at the desk next to hers. She learns the girl's name is Kanon, and she is not quite completely deaf, but very hard of hearing. Though Kanon needs to be close to people to read their lips, she tends to push people away with her icy demeanor. Though one kind gesture, Saki slowly begins breaking down the walls around Kanon, even as she feels something new blossoming within her. Gay. Okay, so I loved this. As someone who doesn't have a disability, I connect to the main character Saki and thus have a view from an able-bodied person, and I make that distinction because of how Saki treats Kanon in the story and how I perceive it as being good. I like how Saki went through the process many able-bodied people will have around people with disabilities, but treats Kanon still like a regular person, which is bare minimum, obviously, but goes through the extra effort to make Kanon feel safe and recognize that they are friends. While Saki is still being unsure if she's doing enough or too much. From an able-bodied person's perspective, it is relatable, minimally informative, and it is a cute start to a romance that isn't using the disability as the romantic element. The actual person of Kanon is the romantic part of this series. That is what I cannot stress enough. It's not romanticizing the disability, it's romanticizing the person with the disability. To me, it's the perfect fusion tonally to One Dance, Is Love the Answer, and Whisper Me a Love Song with, once again, music lesbians. But I think the romantic element that I like the most is that our lead knows that she is a raging lesbian. Unless it's a comedy, the only characters that I tend to see that know that they're a lesbian off the bat is usually the love interest. So to see a character knew already that she is a lesbian and have it be inferred to us, the audience, right off the bat, but not outright stated until the end of the volume, really makes the story so fucking enjoyable, especially since Saki's goal is mainly to be Kanon's friend and supportive to Kanon, with the romance taking a backseat, and that I think is the best part. The romance that forms out of a friendship where romancing the love interest takes a backseat to the actual plot itself. And I also love the art of these two fucking characters throughout the book. It's so pretty, it's so nice. Kanon is designed beautifully, and same with Saki. Saki is gorgeous. I love this art style, it's so cute, and I cannot wait for the next fucking volume. I finish a good series, I pick up another good series. Knock on wood. I give this an 8 out of 10. This is genuinely one of those series that has left a really positive mark on me. Last but not least, oh my god, my hand hurts from gripping around this microphone. Okay. The Drifting Classroom, Volume 2. Trigger warnings for child death, violence, and the plague. So now this one was my birthday purchase. And I'm actually happy I bought this. I liked this this volume so much more than I liked the first volume of The Drifting Classroom, mainly because the first volume feels like hit after hit after hit. The issues in this volume, however, feel like they flow into each other really well and actually sort of make sense to flow into each other really well, and are like hinted at in chapters way before they actually appear. That's what makes this like sync together really, really well. You have the conclusion to the alien bug arc, which kills a bunch of kids. Then drought, which equals plague, which then is brought back to drought, worrying about the food supply. The asshole Sekia is back, which is fucking frustrating. These weird mushrooms are appearing everywhere, turning kids who ate them into monsters, with the mother monster coming to get them. It talks religion, it talks fear. I love it. I honestly really, really fucking enjoyed this. As I said, I liked it a lot more than the first volume because there isn't a little fucking misogynist making his presence known quite explicitly. Bruh. Honestly, all the male characters outside of our protagonist are really annoying, and the sudden mystery of them questioning how they got there in the first place, and how it's probably the protagonist's fault, which makes the ending honestly super interesting until it leaves off on a cliffhanger. Wow. Love that. Now I have to shell out another $50 fucking for the last perfect edition volume. Love that. That won't be happening for a while. This review is honestly a little nothing when it comes to the actual like book itself. It doesn't give a lot. I just liked it more than I liked the first volume. It was a big upgrade in quality and a big downgrade in like my frustration with the series. It's pretty awesome. I severely liked it more than the first volume, and I gave it a 7 out of 10. Now that is all for my November manga. Let's move on to December manga.
Finally, we go on to December anime and manga. Now, as you can see, I'm not cosplaying. I was going to cosplay Psyduck for this section. However, it is 2 days after Christmas. I have just set all of this shit back behind me up. And before you ask, yes, this will be the new backdrop. I am trying to sort out how I will light it and stuff as compared to my corner. This is a lot and a lot different, and yes, there will be its own video for it, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We are talking about December anime, and I mostly watched movies for December mainly because I work in retail. During December I mainly watch movies in my downtime. Obviously, first of all, I watched Boy and the Heron, and I love that. In the icon card up above will be my review of The Boy and the Heron. I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. Honestly, one of my favorite movies of the year, as you will have seen by my otaku review from this year. I really loved The Boy and the Heron. Then moving on, we have another Studio Ghibli film, this being When Marnie Was There. This was a spur of the moment watch because my computer was freaking out. Earlier in the month, I did talk about my computer freaking the fuck out, so I had to be on hold with Apple for about 6 hours. So mentally, while I was doing that, I decided to throw on Netflix on like my iPad or something and just chill and watch a chill Ghibli film. So I watched When Marnie Was Here. Now, the fuck you mean these two are related and that they aren't gay? Anna's gay. That is so clearly a gay child. If this isn't the gayest looking fucking relationship. So personally, as I said, so queer this film, so fucking queer. So much so that I wish they'd given more hints that Marnie was Anne's grandmother before the final 5 minutes of the film. Like, I already knew. I knew that from the beginning because I saw a review of When Marnie Was Here of an equally queer person also baffled by the fact that Marnie is Anne's grandmother. So I really do wish that they just had like left hints, clearer hints that these two were related, other than just like the muddiest water of hints. Like, I really thought this was a like lake house scenario, gay fiction, so like there's so many points on when Marnie calls Anne, Marnie's like boyfriend's name or whatever, and Anne looks so betrayed and upset. If that is not the gayest thing I've ever seen, then what the fuck is it? Just personally, with how close they looked, it only made sense for them to be sapphic. So for Marnie in the end to be Anne's grandma, and how most of Anne's experiences are retelling memories and stories of Marnie growing up and Marnie's memories, conceptually, I get it. Beautiful, wonderful, when revealed towards the end, nearly made me cry. Yes, I can understand that being like a lovely family relationship type of thing. It's retelling Marnie's memories through Anne, right? But you made Anne gay. Fuck you. Even if not gay for Marnie, Anne is gay. No ifs, ands, buts about it. That is my headcanon. Anne is gay. She's asthmatic and she's gay. We love her. Also, Marnie's poor nan. I get... Okay, there was one scene in the film that I need to talk about. It's when Marnie invites Anne into the house and she gives Anne Marnie's nan's scarf and the nan catches them. Marnie pummels her with a fucking doona. I get the nan was mean. I get she was an awful person. But having a doona full force flung at you, so much so that you were toppled to the ground. Poor nan. Yeah, generally, I did enjoy this film. It's good to calm you down during a shit time, and I really, really did enjoy it. I wish I had spent, like, more time fully invested in this film. I watched a good 85% of it, sort of zoning out for about 10 to 15% of the film. I liked it a lot. Personally, I gave it a 7 out of 10, just because she was gay. It was a gay story. Why did you have to make it about a grandparent? That's weird. Next is the anime that everyone was talking about last month, this being Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Now, I don't really have this anime distinctly reminds me of Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, and I used to watch Scott Pilgrim the movie a lot when I was younger, so all I could think of was the deviation from the film to the anime. First of all, so much better character development wise. Episode 2's hair color, last year, around this time last year, this was my hair color. Not this time last year, a little earlier last year, this was my hair color. I wanted to go back to this hair color, but after Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, I thought people are going to think that I'm copying Ramona Flowers, and I don't want that anymore. Do I still want the haircut? Yeah, I still want the haircut and colour. I just don't want to be called Ramona Flowers, for fuck's sake. I love, also, character-wise, speaking of character development being good, I love Wallace in this. He's just like an unbothered flirt, and I love that for him. I liked him in the first film. I like him 10 times more now. It's so fucking funny. Especially that whole bit with him and the vegan one. Really thought that was funny. Within the series, Knives and Kim jamming together was honestly so cute. So young Neil wrote the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World script. No, actually that was spoilers, Ramona. You had Straight Wallace, who was so gross but super funny. Behind the scenes of the movies in episode 5 was so fucking funny. I love it so much. I'm not gonna lie, I love that Matthew Patel has got Gideon's empire and is sort of having like an actual proper character arc. Makes him much more of an interesting character than just the first Scott Pilgrim's life, especially when he finds out he didn't actually win. Speaking of the villains of the evil exes in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, personally, I absolutely fucking adore Gideon being a total loser. I find it really fucking funny, and honestly love that for him. Does he try to be evil again later? Yes. but he's still a fucking loser, and it's funny. I love the animation in this. It's so cute and stylized, particularly around Ramona. Wallace is such a funny fucking character. I love Todd, that was his fucking name. I love Todd's obsession with Wallace, as well as Matthew Patel's fucking sass. Slay. It's gonna be Scott or Envy putting in the force field. It was Scott, I knew it. Love the message of being self-love and fixing oneself and helping others fix themselves, maybe tearing themselves apart themselves as well. Tearing themselves apart themselves was more so referring to Scott and deconstructing his own mental health shit. But I love that Ramona is the main character in this, and it's about essentially loving herself and growing herself while seeing other people grow around her and putting her foot down in her own emotions and feelings, you know? In general, across the entire anime, I love the references to older anime and movies. The art style is really nice and stylistic. It's so cool. Also love the returning cast. As someone who loved the original film, I was super happy to see the original cast. My favorite character was obviously Wallace, probably followed by Knives and then Ramona. In general, I love the characterization of the characters and the deviation from the original live action movie that I saw. Obviously they were a comic beforehand or a manga beforehand, but I watched the movie first, so seeing the deviation from the film, I really enjoyed it. Personally, I gave this one a 7.5 out of 10. Yes, I liked it more than When Money Was Here. It was more engaging, and it was just like hit after hit after hit on the comedy side. It's a genuinely good comedy series to watch, and as I said, it does give me that like panty stocking vibe, which I did love Panty and Stocking as well. It's just that this one, like, I guess because I already knew the source material and like really was interested in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World back in the day, I just like this a little bit more, bit of nostalgia stuff, you know. But moving on, we have the final bit of anime that I watched in 2020 or December of 2023, but technically of 2023 as well. Whisper of the Heart. Yes, it's another Ghibli film. Ghibli films are really easy to get through. That being said, the way that Country Roads has a fucking chokehold on this film. I've had that song stuck in my head for 2 days because of this film. I think it's funny that this whole film is just surrounded by country roads, yes, but God, is it annoying. I honestly think this is a cute romance film, super naive, especially since they're in junior high, but I do think it's cute and funny. I don't necessarily like the aspect that Suzuki gets the inspiration to like be a writer based off of Seiji and his influences, but understand that if it's about bettering yourself based off of others, based off of Seiji, but I do understand that part of the message is bettering yourself based off of like others' influence and modeling yourself off of others, and that Seiji is not only like a love interest but a role model in a way to Suzuki. I think the sudden switch up of like to hate, or hate to like should I say, on the part of Seiji and Suzuki is a little perturbing, and like most Ghibli films, there's always actions that feel unwarranted to me, like they just happen with no real rhyme or reason. This also does happen in Whisper of a Heart, a little more evidently in our protagonist, but then it feels like it's good reason with her. Seiji, not really. There's some evidence to gratify the fact that maybe he's a little bit like needs a little bit more development, you know? The latter half of the film is great. The film itself actually took me about 4 to 5 restarts for me to properly get invested in the film. So for the end of the film to be like really good, I like that a lot. Romance wise, I did think it was cute but not perfect. Ghibli romances almost never are. Generally, it was really good, but as I said, with that 4 to 5 restarts, I really wasn't invested in the first half of the film. So for me, this gets a 6 out of 10. It has potential, it's really good in the latter, it really hits home in the latter half of the film. However, with that start of the film not being as gripping, really bites it in the ass. So unfortunately, it gets a 6 out of 10. And as much as I had a short anime list, we also have a short manga review for December, as I haven't had a lot of time to read manga, as I've been editing videos pretty much every day for the first part of the December, and then for the latter part of December I've been stressed because of work and because of computer shit. Now, I did read 2 particular volumes of manga. Are they in my grasp? No, they're at the very back of that shelf over there, which I can probably reach, but I'm really tired and lazy right now. I pulled an all-nighter to do these. Last minute edition. Mimi's Tale of Terrors. I didn't know this bitch was like a reoccurring character in the Junji Ito universe, which also, it's not actually by Junji Ito. The original story is by other authors, and these are just like adaptations by Junji Ito. But like, I had actually heard of and read a couple of these stories before, and I'm surprised that it's all one character. Like, the one that stands out the most is probably, first of all, on the utility pole, second, the woman next door, and then probably the third one, it would probably be the gravestone one. But I definitely had seen the woman next door and on the utility pole before, because I think one or both of them got adapted into the collection. I think one got adapted into the collection and the other got adapted into Maniac. I cannot remember which is which. I'm honestly surprised, because I thought this would be similar to like Censor. I didn't realize this was a short story edition, technically, similar to the likes of Fragments of Horror or Venus in the Eye, or Venus in the Fly. Generally, I enjoyed this actually quite a bit. I actually liked seeing, because I've recently just been like, Junji Ito has same face syndrome for a lot of his female protagonists, especially in stories where they are, like, first of all, blonde, because Mimi looks a lot like the girl from Censor, who looks a lot like the girl from Venus and the Fly. Venus and the Blind. Jesus, I need glasses, okay? Venus and the Blind, who looks similar to about 8 other, not even reoccurring, who looks like the girl from The Dissolving Classroom, who gets her brain melted, who looks like... Junji has a lot of, like, same face syndrome for a lot of his female characters, particularly blonde ones. There is, like, subtle differences, like, extremely subtle, especially for the characters that are, like, long form. So when I picked up this, I thought it was just, like, gonna be anthologies with girls similar to this. It's the same person. And yes, as I said, there is there is pretty heavy same face syndrome for Junji Ito novels. But, like, that's what I was expecting with this, and I was pleasantly surprised. I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. There is some stuff where I was like, yeah, this is kind of just mid for a Junji Ito story. Like I said, I had previously known of 2 of the stories, and I'm pretty sure the woman next door appears in one of the story collections. And, like, I think the thing that stumps me the most is I was picking between this and Soichi's Tales, because I think this was $37 and Soichi's Tales was $37, and this was $35. So I was like, I'll get one or the other, and I chose the cheaper option. I wasn't expecting both of them to be a collection of tales of a reoccurring character. Now that I've hammered that point into your head, genuinely, in terms of stories, I like that there's really, really short stories next to much longer stories. I feel like some of the stories did fall flat. The Woman Next Door I've read and watched many, many times over, so it's a good one in comparison to a lot of these. Grave placement was a bit absurd, but, like, I kind of get it. Seashore I actually really liked. That one was pretty grim and I liked it a lot. Just the Two of Us, which one was that? Just the Two of Us was also pretty creepy. I think the main one I didn't like was Scarlet Circle, and then having that finish off with Sign in the Field was like, I did also like the bonus story Monster Prop, especially the imagery of at the very end, the guy's like smashed face and all that sort of stuff. Obviously it was similar to like Smashed, but it was very like, it was much more perturbing in that sense. Personally, my favorite overall would probably be Just the Two of Us and maybe Seashore as well. I think those two are my favorite overall, just because I haven't read them before, and while they're not unique concepts in the world of Junji Ito, especially Seashore, just like the combination of imagery for them I think was pretty good. So yeah, it's Junji Ito, 7.5 out of 10. It didn't blow me out of the water, but it was still pretty good. We start with One Dance Volume 2. So to begin, I didn't do this in the previous volume, but every time a song popped up in the manga, I pulled it up on my Spotify and listened to it until the next song mentioned. Half the time the song was midway through when the next song actually came up, but a few times the song actually finished, and it was an amazing multimedia experience when it did. Listening to the songs as they appeared actually set the mood of the scene a lot as like they happened. Personally, I thought that was like an amazing touch, and the thought the mangaka went through for these little simple additions is awesome, even if they are like supposed to be based off of like dances. The mangaka does like a lot of research as well, like into choreography and stuff, and like I sort of just sat there going, wow, this is like so fucking cool. I like really like want to get into seeing that. I'm very nostalgic, stuff like that. It's really hard to explain. I'm very tired. These were really simple additions, but I thought they were awesome. It's just like reading fan fiction that has an accompanying soundtrack to it. Personally, it's wonderful. Other than that, I still love the references in the book as well. And in the artistry side, Wanda has the Ai Hoshino eyes, where she's got like the stars in her eyes, and they sort of change depending on her mood. I think it's super cute. So when I get my hands on volume 3, I will be very excited. This gets an 8 out of 10 for me. Then finally, the last manga that I've read of 2023. Again, if I read something in the next couple of days, then an insert will be added. Whisper Me a Love Song Volume 5. Now, this is getting an anime in spring of 2024. I'm very excited. I have a lot of plans based around Whisper Me a Love Song. This is personally one of my favorite dramatic series. And as always, Volume 5 was a wonderfully cute read. And this volume, we have a connection for the band drama and the romance drama, with Himari trying to see both bands' perspectives. First of all, realizing that she's stuck in between her girlfriend's band and her friend's band, as she is the only real connecting piece that can try and get them some closure, you know? This with her being in the cooking club and all. In this volume, she talks a lot to Shiho, so much that I can very clearly hear Shiho's speaking voice when she's talking, and I cannot wait to see how she's voiced in the upcoming anime, to see if it's like completely different or if it is similar to what I think she sounds like. This volume is mostly Shiho-centric and made me realize how different Shiho is in character design than I first thought she was. She's more prickly and she's a lot more prickly and taller than the short snobby character I thought she was, and I absolutely love her for that. Personally, I realize also the title names give away a lot of the plot of the chapters, especially the final one that says failure and plans in the same sentence. But the drama of the failed plan, that I didn't catch. Obviously, they're not gonna spoil everything, but the title names do tend to give away what's gonna happen. And this drama of the failed plan converges the romance plot and the band plot together, which is so good. But I honestly don't see how Shiho having Himari being Lorelei's manager steals her away from Yori. Like, since Yori will still be dating Himari. It's not like Shiho is like, break up with your girlfriend. You're a manager, you break up with your girlfriend. They're still going to be dating. I guess it's like she's with the rival and spends less time with Yori, but still I'm really enjoying this series and cannot wait for the anime to come out, as well as me getting the next volume. Personally, this particular volume of Whisper Me Your Love Song gets an 8 out of 10, and I'm very hyped for the rest of the series. Now, that is all of my anime and manga for 2023. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be working out these in the next couple of days, weeks even. And yes, there will be a fucking video on it. Now, after today, I'm going back to once a week because today is the last day of Upload Every Day December. Thank you all for joining me in this stressful journey of uploading once a day every day. I started this project all the way back in September, and even then I couldn't properly fulfill all of the videos for 31 days. I might try again next year, but I'll actually like have a proper plan for next year instead. Thank you so much to those who watched every day, who liked, who subscribed. Those of you who did subscribe pushed me over to 602 subscribers, and I'm very, very thankful. It's been a long time coming, and I can't wait to see how this channel grows in the new year, and I hope you join me in that growth. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week on Wednesday, 10 AM Australian Eastern Standard. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then please do like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.